Today I'll be visiting all the older versions of Brookhaven so we can compare the motels from the oldest version to the most recent one. Let's start it off with the first version of them all, the one from 1903. In case you think I'm kidding, look at this message written Happy New Year 1903. The whole spawn area wasn't even added into the game yet. Everything was still under construction. All we had were trees all over. The only building that already had some structure was the police station, which already looks quite different from what it is today. It's all wooden and kinda weird. Even the ladders weren't metal back then, while the ones nowadays are all metal painted red. At this point, everything was made of wood, which is certainly weird. Look at these jail cells. They're so simple. No criminal could have been held in here. They would escape so easily. The wall is already broken. Beyond that, at this time, they didn't even have the motel. This is where it's gonna be in the next version. But at this time, there's nothing. It's all just empty space. Here is the actual place it would be nowadays, but it's all just grass and bush. There's literally nothing over here. That's certainly about to change as we're going to the version from 2020. On this version, the game already looks mostly like it is nowadays, as you can see by the spawn area. The police station does look quite different, but it's not that much from what we know. As you can see, none of the walls are wood anymore. They're all concrete now. By going into the cells, you'll see they're a lot safer now. It also has the secret passage on the vent system for you to run from there. What about the secret room up here? Oh, looks like it does. Some stuff was supposed to be here though. All that's left is this floating image of that FBI agent. This version is so old that it still has the tutorial on how the game works at spawn. Nowadays, that sign was completely removed as the game in its entirety is pretty easy to figure out, and everyone already knows how to play it. Here's the public pool and its slide, but this is what we want to see. The motel! Back then, the motel could be found over here, across the public pool. This is where a bunch of stores will pop up later, but for now, all that we have is the old motel. It's not that different from how it is nowadays. It has all the rooms it had before. There's a little reception room on this side so you can pay for your room. Just look at this computer screen. It's certainly old. Wait! Is Pommy right there? How are you doing, Pommy? She's probably one of our subs. But what about you? Did you leave a like on this video already? If not, go subscribe to the channel as well for a good time. It also has this little storage room with some towels, I think. The reception back then was pretty small. There's a Coke vending machine out here that doesn't seem to be working. This whole building also has its details in green, as you can see because of how green the roof is. Even the whole motel sign had those bright green LEDs on each letter. Now before we go into another version, we can see a few other things. Going to this direction where we'd normally find the hotel, there really wasn't much over here at this point. We did have this whole garage tunnel thing. You could basically circle around it, but it also had the older Blackhawk community, where you could get yourself a home. As you can see, there's a few plots around the street. For in total, there's another sign with the community's name over here too. I'll show you guys afterwards where you'd find it today in the game, but this really was how it looked back then. Oh yeah, the Burger Barn. In case you didn't know, we already had the Burger Barn back here. Some may think the Burger Barn is a new addition to the game, but it's really just an older addition that they removed before. A fun fact is that if you jump into this vent, you'll be able to find this little nook, where probably some of the employees of the Burger Barn sat down to talk and eat some snacks. The stores in front of the police station weren't even fully built yet. Everything is still closed up. Club Brooks wasn't even in yet. All we had was the salon, as well as the arcade, which is interesting. In case you didn't know this, it did have a second floor that took you to a birthday room. Since we're pretty close, let's look at the school. Brookhaven School looked so much better back then. It gives me such nostalgia to walk around these halls. Nowadays, Brookhaven remodeled this whole place so it looks a lot different from this version. It also had these fences. I don't think we have this in the latest updates. Another thing that this version has is that the fire station is in the town hall's location. After it was taken over to this side, that means that town hall didn't even exist back then. We also had the agency building instead of the daycare. So the agency was actually a place with FBI offices and stuff like that, before they were seen as something good, of course. Beyond that, the place had about 3 stories inside. It was quite crazy. Here is Lake Madison. It doesn't have water for some reason. Now we're in a version from 2021. This one one is actually one of the Christmas updates, as you can see by the Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays message up there with the names of the devs beneath it. Oh yeah, it also had this little feedback button down here. By clicking on there, you could send the devs a message about any bugs or anything you'd like to say about the game. Those messages went straight to the devs so they could know anything that they could fix or do for the game. We can look at the motel from this version now. At this time, you find it right beside Brooks Diner, which is still where it is. It's already a lot more like what we're used to, with all the rooms there. So it's still about the same as it was. Even the reception is practically the same. The stores are finally mostly in their rightful place, like Rockstar and the bank. But still, they didn't add everything, as you can see by this empty space. I do know one thing. At this time, we didn't have the secret passage over here, because to make our way into that bunker, we had to go down from inside the cleaners, which of course led to the secret agency bunker. That's certainly crazy, isn't it? At this point, the burger barn was already switched for the mall. Even if in this version it's quite different, just look at this whole club dance floor it has. They even have a drinks bar. It certainly looks quite different. We can also go upstairs, where we'll see that the TV station has already been added after 2TV was removed. That's interesting. Why did the church used to be all the way out here? Never expected it to be over here. I'm so used to being next to the neighborhoods. And finally, over this way, we can see how Lake Madison looked, still without anything at all. Something that I know all the real oldies in Brookhaven know about is that the edge of the map was a big brown wall. The idea was for you to not be able to cross it, because at this point, we didn't have the ocean. That's actually quite a recent addition, which also made the whole road just end up in this dark tunnel. Some people even thought it would take us to another city. That really wasn't the case though. You guys remember the Blackhawk community I talked about before? Nowadays you can find it over here. Now every plot of land over here is part of it. Before, where we had only 4 plots of land, we can have a lot more after this. While we're talking community, this one had this straight road all the way back. We still didn't have any tunnels. Another thing that's interesting is that beside this arch we had this mountain where we could have a house on the latest versions. We couldn't do anything with this place at this point. So yeah, Brookhaven may look a lot more like what we're used to, but it was still under development. Going back to the motel, right on the roof we still had this secret passage where we could use a sleeping bag and just find ourselves in this weird looking attic it had. Now I'm in a Brookhaven version from 2022. The game now looks almost perfectly as we know it now. As you can see that even the apartments have been added already. Even the motel at this point looked like this. Check it out! Certainly a lot more like the one we had before the new remodeling it got in the new update. For sure it already looks a lot prettier than the last few versions. The whole weird purple paint job was taken out of it. You can see the details are more minimalistic as well. This version that I got is also one of the Christmas updates, so you can see that everything is already happening in this one. Just look at how the town looked before all that new remodeling. Our police station was a lot simpler. The hospital, the school, I'm filled with nostalgia. Of course those still exist nowadays, but they now look completely different. Finally, I'm back at the 2024 version of Brookhaven. Everything looks a lot different now, like the grocery store. Other places like the hospital and police station as well. Burger Barn has been added back. And to finish off, we got the brand new motel with a completely unique design. They didn't just change it, but gave it a brand new floor as well. It also gave us the option to choose between which room we want to get. We got 5 normal options and even a VIP one. So please comment down below if you guys preferred the older versions of Brookhaven. If you say yes, tell me which one is the best in your opinion. Don't forget to leave a ton of likes down below and subscribe to the channel for even more videos like these. Watch one of the videos on screen right now as well. They're so much fun. Thank you for watching. See you later. Have a good one.